Do you want to know something stupid that I did?
Always.
I wrote my notes in a yellow marker. And I can't read them.
Oh my god.
Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that I mean we talk about what's on our minds, because we're Telly.
So you didn't do the intro.
We're talking about Sea Beast, the movie.
The Sea Beast.
I'm Soul. I forgot to introduce myself.
I'm Tyler, the Sea Beast. I'm a pirate. Are you a pirate? Can we be pirates?
I'm the little blue guy. Or I want to be the little yellow guy the little yellow guys that came out of the eggs.
Yeah, I want to be a pirate, but I'm Tyler, and
You're
just
a monster hunter?
No, one of the good ones.
There are no good ones. All of them are guilty.
They turn good at the end. That's the plot.
All of them have guilt.
Spoiler.
They have guilt. Them killing monsters is not a spoiler.
No, I said they turn good, and then I was like, oh, spoiler.
Well, obviously they turn good. You know that before the movie even starts. That's how kids' movies work.
You so right.
You want to know something?
What?
Every time we watch a kids' movie and I have, like, logistical questions about it, you're always like, it's a kids' movie. That's how it works. It's just a kids' movie. And then every time we watch, like a dreamy hypothetical movie, you're like, why is it like this? Like, why does it happen? I'm like, because it's a dream. It's a dream hypothetical movie. That's just how they work. Anything can happen. And that's we do that every time.
Okay, so if you look at the document I just made in Telly,
yeah,
it just goes, there's so many typos, and I have the weirdest thought.
No, I get all of this. I understand all of this.
I'm trying to remember what PATF stands for.
Where? Pirates. No.
Pirates, no.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Is it supposed to be Caribbean?
No, because in that line I'm talking about how the scene when they go and talk to that, like, witch to get the thing, it's very similar to the scene in Ariel and in Brave and, like, Princess and the Frog. It stands for Princess and the Frog.
I was like, there's a witch in the... It does give witch from Pirates of the Caribbean, too, where they meet the voodoo lady and she's like... She gives them a jar of dirt.
I've only seen the first one, and it was a year ago.
She's like, if you don't want it, then give it back. And he's like, no. And then he's like, I have a jar of dirt. Wait, you haven't seen all of the Pirates movies? That's crazy.
No,
we have a Pirates month.
We could do that. Next year. So The Sea Beast, I thought it was called Sea Beasts, but it's not. It's called The Sea Beast. It's an animated film that came out in 2022, and I think it's a really great animated film. It was made by Netflix, and it has really cute animation, like almost, some parts of it are almost like Polar Express, where it's like it almost looks real, and it's really trippy, in my opinion.
Yeah, some of it was weird.
And it just has cute little monsters, and it takes place in this kingdom where there's monster hunter pirates who go to protect the kingdom to fight the monsters, but the royal family is really corrupt. And you find out that the monsters are nice and the royal family is not nice, and that they don't need to hunt the monsters. And there's a little girl who wants to be a monster hunter because her parents were monster hunters, but her parents are dead, and she was an orphan. And there's this pirate dude who looks like if the two love interests in Frozen, Kristoff and Hans, if they had a baby, like, imagine a guy.
I thought that too.
Imagine a guy with the big build and big nose of Kristoff, but then, like, the hair and facial hair of Hans, and he was just like a cool pirate guy, and
he was very dad.
He's like kind of himbo, very dad, and the little girl like sneaks onto his ship, and then they're trying to catch this big red monster who's like tormented them for eons, and then they're about to catch it, but the monster is going to pull the ship under, so to like save the people, the little girl cuts the
monster. Why are you
monster
talking in a Scottish accent?
Am I? The little girl cuts the monster free, and Jacob lets her. And then the captain of the ship, who's kind of like a father figure to Jacob, is like, I'm gonna shoot you for this. And then he's like, no, don't shoot the girl. And then the big red monster comes and eats them and takes them away to a nice monster island. Do I have a Scottish accent?
I don't know. A little, not really, but it was in there for a second.
And then they come back and they like show the world that the crown is corrupt and the monsters are good. And they all live happily ever after. Let's get to it. Bless.
What did I think about this movie? I thought the animation looked really clean and airbrushed, and I feel like I would have liked it better if it was in 2D animation. They really need to bring back 2D animation.
I
Like,
agree that they need to bring back
hand-drawn.
2D animation.
Like, they need to bring back hand-drawn frames. Like,
I quite like the animation in this movie. I thought it was cute. The whole movie's just really cute and comforting vibes. The first time I watched this, I was like, this is so comfort movie coded. Like, this is just like a cute little time with some cute little animals and some pirates.
the animation reminded me of Frozen, and then when Jacob showed up, I was like, that is the men. That's the men.
It's both of the men combined.
That both men. That's the men's son. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
It's like
But
if
see,
Kristoff and Hans had a baby.
It happened in the Sea Beast and Frozen happened in the same universe, and
Oh my god.
they had a little love child somehow.
And that brings in the magic.
Moment.
Yeah.
And he went on a ship and got lost, and then showed up in the probably like off of France, the islands off of.
This movie
of
is
Spain.
Basically How to
And then he
Train Your
became a
Dragon,
monster
but with
pirate,
sea
and then,
sea monsters
he,
instead of air animals.
Then he got adopted
What are you
by
talking
that one guy. And okay, I have a question. Is the captain of the bad ship? Is he his actual dad, or was he lying? Because
I think he's kind of like his adopted dad.
that's what I thought. But then for a second, I thought he was his actual son, because he was kind of like, "You're my son. You're my son." But then at the beginning, he's like, "When I picked you off the street, that's how I looked at you." And I was like, so okay, but are you okay? All right. Cool.
Someone on YouTube made a size comparison of all the people in the Sea Beast movie, which is so weird.
A size comparison to what?
Multiple people have made a size comparison video on YouTube.
What do you mean a size comparison to
It's
what?
like literally just like how tall is the captain compared to the girl compared to the little blue guy.
Why? For
And
what?
it has like thousands and thousands of views on YouTube. There's multiple videos about it.
For what?
Sea Beast, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but like why? Why did they make the video? Why did they need size comparisons?
I don't know. It's so stupid.
Like you can tell that the child is like what, 3.5 feet tall? Not even?
4
And the
feet.
captain's like 5.5? Like they're short. Kristoff's probably like 6 feet,
Yeah, I think Kristoff's like we're just gonna call him Kristoff. Kristoff's like 6 feet. Captain's like 5'8", 5'10". Little girl's like 4 feet. Anyway, why are we talking about this? Anyway,
Because you were looking at it. Why do they need size comparisons? That's so
I
weird.
don't know. And why have 500,000 people watched it? So
Are they doing
this movie,
size comparisons to the monster? Because you see that in
Yeah.
the movie, so I don't
right? Like, why?
I don't get that.
So this movie, I think, is like How to Train Your Dragon, but with sea monsters instead of flying monsters, because the whole thing, where like it's like a colony, it's like a village, and they think that the monsters are evil, so they hunt them, and then a kid meets a monster and realizes it's not evil, but then the dad doesn't approve, and then they change the society. It's very How to Train Your Dragon coded, and I think that's why I liked it so much the first time that I watched it.
It's an entire ripoff of How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, there's a lot of parts that are different than How to Train Your Dragon. Like, there's no, like, they're not, like, training for anything like in How to Train Your Dragon. And it's more of, like, an adventure. Like, the Croods, it's like a Croods kind of adventure feel.
Well, little secret. in the industry, they they take like 8 to 10-year-old ideas and just fucking recycle them. And just are just like, okay, what if it was How to Train Your Dragon, but pirates instead of Vikings? Boom.
You're so
And
right. That's exactly
the
it.
dragons are like sea monsters. Boom. Let's write it. And then the sea beasts were written. And that's the sea beast.
And then, anyway, in the beginning, you're right. That's what happened probably. But in the beginning
In the
of the
beginning.
movie, of the movie. Okay, so there's this little girl and she's telling a story and she's an orphan and she's like just leaving the orphanage and I'm like, why is like are the children acting like this is totally normal if this is like the first time she's left? I thought that was weird. Weird intro. And then
I
it
didn't
cuts.
think this is the first time she left because the maid lady was like, and you're not gonna try anything again, right? And she's like, yep. Which I wish they showed her like escaping a couple times.
Right, it just felt like a rushed introduction, and it's like, why did they just leave the window unlocked? She left the window open behind her, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That if I don't know,
Like
felt
it was,
weird.
she had very, it was very clearly like, oh, she's done this multiple times because even all the kids are like, here's your stuff and here's the giant broom so you can unlock the window and blah 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 and here's a lift so I can push you up there and good luck. Like they're all just like, yep, happens every night, every single night. I don't know why they don't
For
bar the
real.
fucking window closed.
Right? And it's like she wasn't coming back this time. Where was she going all the other times? I don't know.
To the bar to find the pirates.
I guess. So then we cut to the pirates after this opening scene, and they're the like assistant captain. What is they called? What's
First
the
mate.
right first mate? The first mate is this like middle-aged black woman, and I'm like, oh, that's the kid. And it wasn't the kid. I just assumed there was a time jump. Like she like went off to be a pirate, and now she is a pirate 30 years later.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first
I didn't
thought.
see it.
That,
I don't think I saw it as a time jump because I remember watching the trailer for this, like
that's
when it was being
understandable.
advertised.
The first time I watched it, went in blind, and I was like, aha, a time jump. She's a pirate now. Good for her. And then she appeared in the bar, and I was like, oh, not a time jump.
I was very confused on who was the captain, who was the first mate, and who was like the second mate. I thought the black woman was the captain, and then the scraggly old guy was the first mate, and then his son was like the second mate. But then I was like, no, he's the captain. She's the first
He's
mate.
the captain because
And
he wants to make his son the next captain.
Yeah. And then it took me way too long to figure it out. And then I thought they were gonna like reveal at some point in the movie that the first mate was like related to her parents in some way, like her aunt or something, or like she knew them in some way.
That'd be
Because
cool.
they look identical. It looks like just an older version of her. Which is I'm like, they could have added a little variety even with the hair or something. They literally gave them the same look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
So then,
they didn't
what?
they
You go.
didn't they didn't clear up anything with her parents. Like I thought they were gonna show like a flashback or some evidence of the monarch in the entire movie. I was like, what? Whether they keep talking about this monarch, but we've never seen it. We've never seen a flashback. We never see anything about her parents. We get no closure with her parents. Like, oh, what happened to them? Who killed them? Like, where? Who?
Well, I
And then
think
I
they were
thought,
killed by a monster.
yes,
But
but
it'd be
like,
cool
which
to get
monster
like
were they
a
killed by?
reference to that.
Red or like the
Like
crab guy?
wouldn't it have added an interesting dynamic if the red monster accidentally killed her parents when defending
That's what I
itself?
thought the plot was when the trailer came out. I was like, okay, so this thing like killed her parents. It's kind of literally like I thought it was How to Train Your Dragon with pirates, where Toothless like took Hiccup's mom and blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like they stole her mom,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, they killed her parents.
That
So
would
like
have
now she's
added
friends with him. Her.
like it was still an interesting dynamic because the monsters killed her parents, but it would have been really cool if like this specific monster killed her parents and she knew that, but it wasn't on purpose, it was defending itself. Like that would have added a really complex, cool dynamic that I kind of wish they went in that direction, but they didn't go too deep into it.
I also wish they put. I was kind of like near the end. I had a theory that the captain of the main ship was a member on the Monarch at some point, and then maybe when it got like destroyed. He was like the only one who escaped, and then he started his own ship and started killing all the monsters. And that was like his huge motivation for doing this, being like, yes, they are evil. And also, I thought I didn't. I missed a little bit of the ending, but I wish he was still a denier in the end because at the end he just like drops his sword and is like, "Well, that's my son. He's going off with the dragon and this little girl, off to I don't know where." But I was kind of hoping that he was still a denier and they like threw him in jail. Also, they didn't punish any of the villains. Like the king and queen just ran inside and the captain just like dropped his sword and sat on the shore. Like I'm like
I
they
think they
didn't
needed
put
to
him in
like
jail
flesh out
or
the ending a bit more because the implication was that the crown was exposed for being corrupt. You get hints at them being corrupt at the beginning, and
yeah.
then they're revealed as corrupt at the end, and the whole town's mad about it. So I just feel like you're supposed to assume that the town like unkings them. I don't know. They should
There's
have
no
fleshed it out a bit.
closure. They're just like they only get closure for Kristoff, the little girl, and the sea beast.
And don't they just like sail off together?
Yes, they don't even. You don't even know where they're going. Are they going back to the dragon, the monster island? Are they going to their own little island? Are they starting a farm? Because they started talking about like building a farm together, but like not. But then, like, I wish they were shown something that was closure for anyone, like literally anyone. They should have added an extra scene in there.
So the beginning of this movie was rushed, and the end of this movie was rushed, but the middle was fun. So you're yeah. So the little girl the pirates come and they go to this bar and they're like having a good time in the bar and it's really nice. And then it's very D&D coded. Like you could look at that as like the end of a D&D thing or the beginning of one, but it's like an
Yeah,
experience group and
they
it's like
meet in
you just came back from winning this quest and you got some money and now you're going to go have fun in a tavern and then there's a new thing happening. It's like the beginning of an experienced D&D campaign.
Yeah,
And I liked the vibes. And then the little girl comes in and I love the like grumpy old man little girl dynamic that she had
me
with
too.
the guy in the bar when he was like, "No, you can't, like I'm humoring you, but you cannot come with me." And she's like, "Yes, I can."
I love his character. Like whenever he was just his character had very good comedic moments. Like I mean, he was when they got back to the main island, the village, and he was like telling the big red to like shoo, and then he like took his spear and like he like fucking shook it over his head and was like, "No more hunting sea beasts." That alone was hilarious. I like paused it and I was like, "That was hilarious." And then I unpaused it and he like tried to smash it over his leg twice. Really, he hurt himself and the spear didn't break. And I was like, "That is even more funny. That is hilarious." And he did that multiple times where he would like do something and then he would try and do something and then he would hurt himself and it wouldn't work and it would just be embarrassing. And then the little girl would be able to do it with ease. And I like that. That was funny.
Yeah, I liked how when he was like yelling at the monster, it was like we're looking at them through. It was like shot so we were the monster's eye on either side of
Oh
its
yeah,
head.
that was cool.
That was like a really cool framing. I was trying to figure out in my notes. It says "shot so we are I," and I'm like, what does that mean? What does "shot so we are I" mean? That's what it means. And it was really funny that the girl communicated with the monster so good after he was struggling, and she like float. She just like flew with the monster like a bird, and was like, "Look, here's how you steer. Go this way," and it was so cute.
I
And
like
then
that. I like that
you go.
the beasts are intelligent, but only like they're like dog intelligent, where if you like the Kristoff was trying to like explain, he's like, you have to turn right, go that way, this way, you turn, God, you're so stupid, you stupid bitch, God damn it, just fucking turn. And then the girl was just like, go this way, and then like
Follow
showed
me.
the beast how to
It's just a
turn and
big
like what they
puppy.
mean. And I'm like, that's so cute that it has like a child's mind in the way that it can't, it can only understand basic instructions, but eventually it'll learn, like more
Yeah.
like a dog. Like
And it's
it'll
it's also
eventually
like a
learn how
dog
to
where like
communicate
if
with
it likes
humans.
you, it'll listen to you more also.
Yeah,
So after when they're in the bar, like talking, and it's like a funny dynamic going on. I really like that when he was telling her no. I thought he was gonna be like, the monster hunting pirate ship is no place for a girl, but he said no place for a kid, and he wasn't sexist about it. And I don't know why I noticed that. I think I was just being silly, but I was like
There's like
expecting him to be
6 women
sexist.
on his ship. What do you?
I know.
Of course he
I
wouldn't say girl. His
I don't know, just
captain
like a
is a
little girl, like.
woman.
Yeah, you're so right. But I was just expecting to be like, yeah, a little girl doesn't belong on a pirate ship. But no, he was just like a little kid doesn't belong on a pirate ship. But also, wasn't he a little kid on a pirate ship? Was that not like his
Yeah.
backstory? So,
Well,
you
no,
were a kid on a
usually,
pirate ship.
you grow up and then you realize that thing is wrong that happened to you, but not wrong and like it was
Oh,
a
I
bad
get
thing. It
it.
was like it was wrong in the way that I shouldn't have been a kid on this pirate ship. It's so dangerous, and that you
That
definitely
makes
need
so
to be
much sense.
older to
I like that.
like I almost died like 17 times in my first year of being a 8-year-old on a monster hunting ship. So I don't want that to happen to you. Like come back when you're like 13 or something.
What was his backstory with his parents?
No idea. He had a backstory?
I thought he did. When Jacob was younger, the ship he was on, the Monarch, caught fire and sank after saving himself
Wait, he was
by
on the
holding.
Monarch?
Yeah, after
Wait,
saving
so
himself by
he
holding
was the
onto a
one
piece
I
of
I
debris.
completely missed that.
He
Oh,
was
he was the
captured
kid
by,
at the
rescued by Captain
beginning.
Crow. Yeah, he was that kid.
I totally forgot about that first scene. I
Me
totally
too.
forgot that. Okay, so I thought the captain was gonna have that backstory, but apparently it's Jacob, and I didn't pick that up or hear that literally anywhere. So I don't
Yeah, that's the
know.
backstory. I picked that up the first time I watched it a year ago, but I forgot about it now.
I totally forgot about that beginning scene immediately after I saw it.
Okay, that's cool backstory. I liked when he after like they fought that blue monster. It was really cool that the captain's like greed almost killed him when he was like went down after it to cut off that thing and then it grabbed him. That was cool. And then
Wait a minute.
in the
How
what
old is Kristoff
in Frozen or in this movie?
in this movie? In this movie, like, is he like? I think he's like 23, right?
I think he's older than that, but I'll look it up. It says late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s. So if he was a kid on the Monarch, if he was like maybe 10 on the Monarch, how is the little girl alive? Because her parents went on the Monarch, and he was 10 years old. They can't have that big of an age difference if her parents died on the Monarch.
Right. So
Like, she couldn't
if
have been
he's like
born yet. He had to be like,
27 and he was like 10, then that is 17 years, but the girl's not 17.
she's like 10,
She's also
maybe
like
8.
10. So maybe he was like 12 and he's like 22.
If he's late 20s, he'd had to be like 17, but in the beginning scene, he's like 13 maybe.
Timeline's not acting up.
Wow. You can't have that, guys. God, don't they teach you that in school? They
Wait, I'm
do
looking
actually.
this up.
Also,
Um,
why if they're sea beasts, why do they live on an island? That's my question.
that reminded me of Ice Age a lot, that little island thing. I have no idea.
Yeah, this is like their age difference. Like he has to be like 23
Okay, so what I was going to talk about,
or like
um,
25.
I know,
But that's
this doesn't
pushing
make
it.
sense. What I was going to talk about was the I liked the after they killed the monster at the beginning and he was like getting his things fixed up, just like the dynamic of the pirate ship when they were all like talking and joking. It was funny.
Yeah.
And then when they're in the back to them being in the bar thing, when they are there with the girl and he just like goes and throws her in a thing and is like, take her back home. And she's like, this is kidnapping. I thought that was really funny because kidnapping would have been taking this little girl onto the pirate ship. Returning a runaway kid home is not kidnapping. That was so funny to me.
I don't think she knew where she was going.
Nah, he said where they were taking her.
Oh.
Then, part of this movie reminded me of the movie Nimona. Have you seen Nimona?
Yeah, the art style reminded me of that as well. And some of the
The
characters.
the art style and like the general vibes of it being like a kids movie with some complex topics.
Yeah.
Like Nimona is about transgender people, right? It's like an allegory. Is that the word?
Allegory?
Allegory. I always say it wrong. I know there's two, and I always pick which one I think is real, and I always pick the wrong one. Allegory, not allegory. My bad.
Allegory.
I know both in my head, and I go, which one sounds made up? And I go, allegory sounds like I made it up. I bet it's allegory, and then I'm wrong. So that happens every time. Anyway, Nimona is a trans allegory, which is cool. And because it's like the whole thing where these people think like you're a monster, and then it's propaganda. And I was like, that has vibes here too. And then there were also some themes of colonization about how like this was their sea, like it was the sea monster's sea, and then we started taking it over, so they felt attacked when we were coming to their homes. So that has some implications for just like history and colonization and Native Americans and stuff, which is cool. And then part of it reminded me of the book 1984 when they like, because like the whole story that they've been told forever and ever and ever by the royalty was that the monsters started the war, right? Which I think is funny because why are they at war with monsters? But anyway, they're like, the monsters started the war. And then they're like, oh, maybe the monsters didn't start the war. And that reminded me of 1984 about how it's like the whole propaganda thing where they're just always at war and then they change who they're at war with randomly. Yeah.
That's kind of like how, have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? The show? Not the live
Parts
action,
of it.
The cartoon.
I've seen the first season, I think.
You gotta watch the rest of it. There's
For real.
when they go to the Fire Nation and like are trying to get to the, I don't even know, but they're at the Fire Nation and Aang is like pretending to be a fire kid, and he goes to the school and he goes to class, and the teacher's like, yes, the Fire Nation army took down the Air Nation army, and then Aang was like, the Air Nation doesn't have an army. And like they were nomads, they were peacekeepers, they were pacifists, they didn't fight at all, they let alone had an army, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And all the kids are like, what the fuck are you doing? And then she's like, you're disgracing the Fire Nation's history and what they are and what they're trying to teach us, and that's just them like brainwashing.
I love when kids media has themes of propaganda. That is so important to teach kids. I like that. That's so cool. And then I wrote down that note about colonization, and then I went, haha, colon, because it's spelled colon. And I just wrote that down for no reason. Haha, colon. And then I was drinking milk and I had a milk mustache, and I just wrote down milk equals mustache. I
was confused when I saw that. I was like, what is that? When did anyone drink milk in that movie?
Me, I was drinking milk.
Okay.
All
right.
That's my character insertion.
I thought you were talking about like Kristoff's mustache looks like a milk mustache, but he didn't have a mustache. He just had one. And
because then I got reminded about the cop movie we watched and that mustache bit, and then I was like, mustache.
You got a mustache.
Yeah, I know. So then there's a part where the mean captain becomes like desperate to kill this red thing, I think to like avenge his son that he thinks it ate. Right? Is that why he becomes like extra desperate to kill it?
For what?
The captain, when he like becomes so desperate to kill it, he goes to the witch.
Yeah.
Is it because he thinks it killed his son? Yeah. So.
Does it? I missed that.
Because they saw it eat Jacob, but they didn't know that they're still alive. So I thought that's why he was so mad, maybe.
No.
Because he became like extra desperate. It felt like more than before.
I don't think he really cared about his son. I think he just wanted to kill the thing.
Damn. Because he always wanted to kill the thing and like avenge his eyeball. that it took. But I thought that's why he became so desperate. He went to the witch was because he felt bad that his son that he loved was eaten.
I don't even. The entire movie, it never, like, hit me that he ever cared for that guy. I feel
Damn,
like he just, like, wanted a predecessor
that's
to,
really
like,
sad.
brainwash him and teach him his ways.
That's so sad. I thought that even though he was kind of mean, he still loved him, like Guardians of the Galaxy
I saw no love
vibes.
from that man ever.
You're
It was
right.
all anger
That
and,
was just me
like,
projecting, maybe.
lying.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
thought it was more like Guardians of the Galaxy, but because when he when he called him into his room and everyone's like, "Oh, you're dead," and then it was like he was a nice conversation making him captain, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." But maybe he just wanted a predecessor. So
Yeah, I don't know.
the captain extra wants to kill this thing now, so he goes to this like witch person who makes a like tranquilizer that can kill it. And then I was like, why didn't they just do this the whole time? Did it cost a lot of money or something?
She said it cost everything.
That's
And I'm
I
like,
know. So I thought that had implications, but then they never followed up on that, did they?
yeah, no. She's like, it'll cost everything. And then that's the last we heard of everything. I'm like, what do you mean everything?
Because I thought it was going to be like Princess and the Frog or Ariel or Brave, where these people go to a witch and they ask for something good, and they give them the good thing, but then it costs something, like you turn into a frog or you lose your voice or your mom turns into a bear, right? And I thought there was going to be a follow-up that like was part of the plot.
I thought that she was gonna like steal his crew and that he was gonna go like kill it himself or something, or that they were gonna take the sun or something. But like,
I know. I thought
like she really emphasized everything, and I'm like,
like
okay,
it felt like a plot
like
point, like a main plot point.
His soul,
his soul,
crew, his ship,
right,
his
me
legacy.
too.
Okay, so like he's gonna be wiped from the face of the earth after he kills this thing. He's not even gonna be remembered.
Like he's gonna die with it. Like he's gonna.
And that just they didn't even,
killing, and then no follow up.
No, nothing. They dropped that. They didn't even. I'm like, why did you? Okay.
So that was really disappointing.
I feel like they just like needed a way for them to get this master weapon, and they're like, let's just throw a witch in there where he sacrifices everything. I feel like the metaphorical everything is that he just loses the war or whatever, and the war ends, and that was his everything, the monster hunting life. Or I guess if he did love his son, his everything would have been his son, and he lost his son to the little girl and the beast. I don't know. To like what it could have been, but I don't think it's any of those. I think they just dropped it. I think they just needed a way.
I think they should have followed up on it because it felt so important.
They did. They really lingered on the everything. Also, when they pulled up to the island, I immediately was like, this is giving like pre-Dragon Burke, and he literally climbed to the top of the mountain where the cranky old magical man lives. On the top of Burke. Like, in the show, there's a cranky old man that lives on the top of the mountain that hates dragons.
I want to watch the show.
And, oh my god, I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. I loved it. And he, like, hates dragons. He tries, like, all these different things to get rid of the dragons. And I'm like, that's literally her. Like, she's magic. She hates the beast. She makes these inventions to kill them. Like, that literally, this is pre-Dragon Burke right here. And that's the cranky old man at the top of the mountain. They literally just ripped off How to Train Your Dragon, which is...
I think this was kind of How to Train Your Dragon.
That's what they do. Also, another logistical thing that you can just say... I feel like for this, you're just going to say it's a kid's movie. But I don't understand how there's a barrier on the beast's nose that keeps the water out, where they were sitting in the nose and they're just breathing air. And I'm like, how is water not just... flowing, just flushing out the nostrils of this beast? Like, I'm so confused.
I liked when the beast ate them and then they were just hanging out. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, but when they're sitting in the nose and they go underwater, there's like a there's no barrier, like visible barrier blocking the water
You
from
are
going
so
inside the
right.
nose. Like they're just sitting there like it's a little window. And I'm like, if it's propelling at a very fast speed
You
through
are
the
so
ocean,
right.
it should be flooding its nose with water. And I'm confused to why it's not doing that.
It's a kids movie.
It's a kid's. That's just how. That's kid movie magic.
So my favorite part was when they were hanging out with the monster. Like you see all of the scars it has, and she like goes and takes all the things out of its bag. I just loved all the scenes with the monster. It was so cute. And then when the monster saw that they needed food, so it started like swirling with the fish. That was also How to Train Your Dragon coded. Um, but I really
It
liked that.
was.
And then I just thought about it way too much, and I was like, the monster knows how to do this because this is also how the monster eats fish when it eats fish. And then I was like, oh, look at that bird who ate the fish that jumped up. I bet if these monsters were real in real life, the birds would just hang out with the monster all day, like sitting on its back, following it around to catch the fish after it eats because they know the monster will bring them fish. And I was just like turning this into some wildlife documentary about the monsters.
That's amazing, actually. I
Thank
love
you.
that. They're like the little like rhinos and those one that one bird where the birds sit on the rhinos and they eat the little
Yeah,
bugs.
exactly. You
What is
get
that
it.
relationship called? It's a
Symbiotic.
symbiotic relationship. Yeah, seagulls would
I
have a
just
symbiotic relationship
because
with
they
people.
showed a little seagull, and I was like, this would have a symbiotic relationship in real life, and I just loved it, and I love the monster, and it's so cute, and it's very cozy, How to Train Your Dragon kids movie vibes, and I liked it.
Also, I might have missed this. I was since all my other past theories had failed about what the ending was gonna be like. I thought that the first mate, the woman, was gonna be the one to like be like the first one to side with the beast, and the captain's like, and I thought she was gonna be the one to take down the captain, but that didn't happen.
She did like realize that they were right though, and side with them at the end, right?
Yes,
So that was cool. I liked that she turned good
but I thought she
because
was
I
gonna be
liked
like
her.
the first one, and then the captain who was like still trying to kill the dragon. I keep calling it a dragon. It's not a dragon. It,
You're projecting the How to Train Your Dragon.
I thought she was gonna like take down the captain, and then allow them to be able to convince the townspeople that
Right.
they're nice. But I don't think that happened. I might have missed it. It could have happened. I kind of walked away near the ending, and I was just listening to it. So it could have happened. I don't know. It should have happened. That's all I have to
It
say.
should have happened. We should watch this again. I feel like we're missing parts of this
I
movie.
just need to like refresh the ending.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll come back to this movie in 5 years.
5 years, 10 years actually. We can't.
Put it down on the calendar for 10 years from now.
I'm also surprised that they that this entire kingdom was listening to a child on top of a violent sea beast.
I think, yeah, I think it was just that the kid got proved right because the sea beast, like, didn't kill the guy. So they were like, aha, correct.
Kid movie magic.
It's a kid's movie. Who was your favorite character? Why'd I say it like that?
My favorite character was Kristoff or the blue. Actually, I have one more comment. I'm mad that she didn't give them more creative names. She called them Red and Blue. I'm like, she's a little kid who's reading fantastical stories about these pirates, and she's super creative and
She
fun.
names them
Why
Red
did she
and
give
Blue.
them like cool, badass pirate names instead of just
I
Red
know.
and Blue?
I agree.
Was
I
it to
mean-
show that she's like uneducated? But like, I don't,
I don't know.
like, why can you do that?
Maybe, but she can read.
She can read that one book.
Just that
And
one
I
book.
feel like at that point it's just memorization. That's how kids are learning these days. They just memorize words and they're not actually learning how to read. They just memorize
For real.
words.
That's why you shouldn't teach sight words. You should teach phonics. That's a big shift that's happening in the pedagogical community right now. Is that we're moving away from sight words and in pushing back into phonics.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's good stuff. But then there's also a debate where instead of teaching phonics, you should teach the etymology of the words, because a lot of English isn't spelled phonetically. That's why kids get confused. Like, why, like, even adults get confused. You're like, why is this spelled like this? It doesn't sound like that. That's because English isn't spelled. We should do a podcast on this. I'm knowledgeable. English isn't spelled phonetically. English is not a phonetical language. English is spelled based on the Latin history of words. And that's why two has a W in it, even though two sounds just like T-O and T-O-O. That's why the number two has a fucking W in it, because it comes from the Latin word tweegen, which means two. And that's why we have the words like 12 and 20 and twins with the W sound. What? Because tweegen.
Twoo.
And
Twoo.
yeah. But we don't say it twoo, because a lot of English is just comes from the history of the word, and that's why it's like that. And that's why kids get confused, because we don't teach them where words come from, or even just prefixes and suffixes. If you take the word action, you're taking act, and you're taking the ending ion, acton, action, but it sounds like you're saying action. So kids will spell it action because that's how it fucking sounds. So that's why you have to teach kids you're taking act and you're adding the prefix ion to it, and that's why it's spelled like that and not how it sounds. And that's a whole debate. Yeah, the suffix. So that's why there's also a debate whether you should teach phonics or you should teach words like that with the prefixes and the suffixes, because technically everything in English can be broken into prefixes and suffixes or free morphemes or bound morphemes, right? So, but that would be really, really complicated, so most people don't want to do that. But if you can successfully do it, it does have very high success rates. But it's like, it's asking a lot of teachers to actually go into that, because it's really complex stuff.
I wish you could see my face right now, but
Are you so confused?
no, my eyes are just glazed over. You know, I'm just like, yeah,
We should post a podcast one day that's just like a collection of our side tangents that we've cut out. Like, just save our side tangents, and one day we just post an hour-long side tangent episode.
Okay, I'll do that.
Let's do that. I'm adding it to the calendar for next April.
Next April. This is why I'm studying Japanese, because all the words are made up of two syllables. Each character is just a consonant paired with one of the vowels. And so you can easily sound out a word because it's always two syllables, like, put together. And
That's so cool.
Nothing behind that. But, like, Japanese is so easy to read once you memorize the characters.
I like our side tangents. You do Japanese and I do word study. Okay, who is your favorite character?
My favorite character was Kristoff, or the little blue guy.
Me too, man.
And that ginger pirate that had, like, 3 scenes.
For real. You and your gingers. I also like the red one. The red monster. Red.
The red monster.
The red. And the little girl was chill, but I like Kristoff. I like the vibes.
When she first said the beast's name, I thought she said wren, like the bird, like a wren. And I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And then she said,
no.
And then Kristoff was like, Red? You named her Red? And I'm like, Red? I thought her name was Wren. I thought that was I was like, Wren, that's a cool name. Weird, because they wouldn't have wrens where they're located, but that's still a cool name. But no, she named her fucking Red. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I feel like
you were so disappointed.
The writers definitely put that in for a placement, like, just to be like, oh, we'll come up with a name later, and then they never did. I feel like the script was just unfinished, and then someone thought it was finished and was like, yes, we're going to animate this now. And I'm like,
dude, that's kind of the vibes.
No.
That is
you didn't
actually
do the ending,
kind of the vibes.
Or connect half of the shit.
I think that they named it Red because it was red and they wanted to do that bit, like you named it Red, and that was like the only reason they named it Red. I think they just wanted to do that because they thought it was funny.
Also, I lost my thought. Fuck. Shit. I had it. Give it back. Give me back that thought right now.
Give
it back right now.
Put the thought back where it came from, or so help me.
Put that thought back where it came from, or so help me. Put it back in my brain right now. Get back here. I forget. Fuck. What would you rate this movie?
And it's very comforting. It's unfinished, so it's like I'm back and forth here because like I love it, but it's also not great. But it's so good. But it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love it, and I'm like, oh, they could have done this better. Also, 3 point.
3 point.
3.8.
3 point. Wow, that's higher than I thought you were gonna score it. I'll give it like a.
It's just really comforting.
I'll give it a base 3. Like it's.
I'm
more
thinking of flipping. Sorry, I interrupted. You go.
I'm gonna give it a base 3, but it's more like a 2.98 for me. It's just so unfinished.
2.98.
Like they told us, they sprinkled in lore, but then
they sprinkled in lore and didn't give us all the lore.
Never went into the lore. Never explained the lore. Never showed the lore. Except for that one little clip in the beginning that everyone forgets about after.
Give us more lore.
Yeah, we
give us a prequel or a sequel or something.
Like we didn't
give us a TV show that was 2D animated.
Like we don't even see like a picture of the monarch or anything. Like we see the symbol of the monarch.
They should have done it like Frozen. You know how Frozen does the intro lore? They should have done it like Frozen.
Frozen has intro lore?
Yeah, with like the parents dying on the ship.
Well, they did that with that one like 3-second clip of Kristoff on the.
Yeah, they should have done it more like Frozen. They should have made it more
context.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie just was so unfinished. Like this definitely was not it should not have been the final draft.
You can make it better.
No. I just feel like this script needed to be run through like a writer's room of college kids before sending it off to be animated.
Yes.
Because we would rip at this thing like I just did.
Every movie should be run through some college kids first.
Really, yeah. Yeah. That's what we do sometimes. In my screenwriting class.
Thank you for coming to Telly Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our Telly. Thank you for coming. Who's coming? Who's coming?
Thank you for watching. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram and TikTok. All the links will be in the description.
Bye.